Hi everyone, my name is Tamid Saleh and welcome to this week's Tennis Tuesday video. Of course, the US Open is now underway. We're all excited for it, and my next few videos will be focused around the US Open. If you're new here, then please do subscribe, as I do release weekly videos on tennis as well as additional content during the big tournaments. So now, for instance, if you want to check out my last video where I looked at the US Open draw and especially focused on the projected routes for the big three, then I'll be putting a link up here somewhere and also in the description below. Now, in this video, what I'm going to talk about is some US Open stats and facts, as well as give you my prediction on who is going to win and how the tournament will play out. Without further ado, let's roll the intro.
Here he is again. That's astonishing. It's absolutely world. He's taken them apart.
Right guys, the US Open is officially underway. This is day one, so I thought let's not wait any longer to get my prediction video out for you guys. I just want you guys to know that this video is not meant to be controversial in any way. I know how passionate some of you guys are. So yeah, this is not meant to be a controversial video. This is just simply my opinion. I do appreciate the fact, and I'm sure many of you guys know, that this is probably one of the most unpredictable slams we've had in a while. There's a whole host of players, I mean mainly the big three as well, but yeah, anyone can win this. I'm just going to say who I think will win it and give you the reasons why. So yeah, once again, not controversial in any way. Before we begin, I'd just like to give you guys some stats and facts for the US Open. It is the second longest running tournament in tennis history. It was established in 1881, so that's what, 130 odd years ago. The only tournament that was established before the US Open was Wimbledon, which was established 4 years earlier in 1877. So yeah, rich in history. It's been around for, like I've said, over a century. And the US Open has the biggest stadium in world tennis. The Arthur Ashe Stadium has a capacity of 23,771. It's more than 6,000 higher than any other tennis stadium in the world. The US Open's second show court, the Louis Armstrong Stadium, has a capacity that is almost equal to the other show courts of the other slams, so the Rod Laver Arena, Philippe Chatrier, or Centre Court in Wimbledon. Like we know, the Americans love doing things bigger and better than the rest of the world. The prize money on offer for the winner is 3.8 million, and the total prize money is roughly $57 million. So a lot of money at stake. In recent years, the US Open has also been the most unpredictable slam. If you look at it from the French Open 2005, so roughly 15 years, the Australian Open and the French Open have had 4 different winners. So it's the big three and Stan Wawrinka. Wimbledon has also had 4 different winners, so the big three and Andy Murray. And the US Open has had 7 different winners in that same time. So we've had the big three, Andy Murray, Stan Wawrinka, Juan Martín del Potro, and Marin Cilic in 2014, of course. Right, that was a few stats and facts for you guys to get warmed up. I'll now give you my own predictions on how I think it will play out. We'll look at the draw a little bit. And yeah, let's get into the predictions. I must add, by the way, that I live in London, so we're about 5 hours ahead of New York. The time for me right now is 8 p.m. on Monday. So by the time I edit it and get it out, it will be Tuesday. The current scores from the opening day is Medvedev's won in straight sets, of course. Right now we have Dimitrov, a breakup in the first set. Novak Djokovic is a set and a breakup. Fognini, 2 sets to love down and a breakdown in the opening round, so that could be a shock on the cards there. And then in the women's side, we've got Joanna Konta from Great Britain progressing to the second round. A big shock, Angelina Kerber, she's out in the first round. And currently we have Venus Williams in action. She's a breakup in the opening set. I must say that if you're in the UK, the only way to watch the US Open is through Amazon Prime. So now's an amazing time for you to get even at least a month's membership on that. That would be my suggestion. You'll get all the matches for the US Open. You can watch that live and exclusively on Amazon Prime. Right, prediction time. So I think we'll use the quarterfinal predicted lineup as a reference point. So the quarterfinal lineup, if you go by the seedings, of course, is Djokovic, Medvedev, Federer, Nishikori, Dominic Thiem, Tsitsipas, and Nadal, Zverev. Out of these 8 players, I feel like Djokovic, Medvedev probably will happen. Fed, Nishikori once again probably will happen as well. Nishikori has been reaching quarterfinals for slams consistently. Team Tsitsipas, both of these guys. Team, of course, didn't play in Cincinnati because he was sick. Let's see how he gets on. Tsitsipas as well. He's been pretty unpredictable. He crashed out pretty early. We crashed out early in Wimbledon, Montreal, Cincinnati as well. Very disappointing, especially after the Australian Open he had at the beginning of the year. Team crashed out early in Wimbledon as well. Of course, had an amazing French Open. So yeah, these two, they might not make it that far. And then the last quarterfinal predicted is Nadal, Zverev. Nadal, I have full confidence he'll make it there. Zverev, now he's also another asterisk player for me. He's won Masters. He had that breakthrough in the World Tour finals last year where he beat Novak, and this year he's not really progressed any further in the slams. He remains a liability. So for me, he's another asterisk. Potentially Kachanov, he could probably they face each other in the round before, so he's a player that could replace him there. So yeah, like I've said, the top half I think will be the predicted one: Djokovic, Medvedev, Federer, Nishikori. Now that first quarterfinal, Djokovic, Medvedev, for me that is the one I'm looking forward to see the most. We've seen these next gen players, none more so really than Medvedev. He's beaten Novak twice in a row now this year. He did lose in their encounter in the Australian Open in 4 sets, but yeah, that performance in Cincinnati, especially the second half of that second set and the third set, serving like that, it was just no player could beat him. That purple patch was just incredible. But doing it in a best of 5 tournament, it is a lot trickier. I think Novak will get this. Medvedev, I believe, will give him a fight. However, he has also played a lot of tennis. He played back-to-back Washington, Montreal, and Cincinnati, reaching the final in all 3 of those tournaments. So that's 3 full weeks of tennis. He's got the most wins this year. He's won 44 matches. I just feel like by the time the quarterfinal comes up, he will be very tired. I think it's very important for him to win these opening matches without losing a set, to conserve the energy. But I do feel Novak Djokovic, especially in the slams, and we all know Djokovic is going all out in the slams as he wants that slam record. I think Novak will beat Medvedev. Fed, Nishikori, likewise. I don't see Nishikori beating Roger Federer. I expect a Djokovic Federer semi-final there. Team Tsitsipas, personally, if Team plays like how he did last year, that amazing 5-set match against Rafa, then there's no reason why he shouldn't go through. Or Tsitsipas, this one's probably the hardest one to call. I would say Dominic Thiem. He's done it before. He's shown he can consistently do it in the slams. So yeah, Thiem for me there. And Nadal, Zverev, Kachanov, whatever, it's going to be Rafa in that last semi-final. So the semi-final lineup for me will be Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, Thiem. I think now I'll give you the prediction. For me, yeah, look, this may be controversial. Many of you won't like it. Many of you will like it. But for me, I think Rafael Nadal is going to win the US Open this year. This is probably one of the tightest and the toughest calls to make. However, if you asked me before the draw was made, I probably would have edged towards Novak Djokovic. However, with this draw, I just feel like fatigue will be a major factor. If Novak, say for instance he straight sets Medvedev, straight sets Roger, then I would have Novak as the favorite. But I just don't see with this draw. I feel like he's gonna have a tough match against Medvedev, a tough match against Federer, and by the time he gets to the final, I just feel like Rafa will just have a bit too much. I know hard courts is where Djokovic specializes himself, but in US Open, Rafa does have the 2-1 head-to-head lead. They've met 3 times in the US Open final, and Rafa has won 2 of them, with Novak winning 1. So it is a lot more competitive in the US Open. With this draw, I think this is the closest in terms of any one of the big 3 winning. Look, Roger, he has a fairly easy, I'm not saying easy, but a good run to the semi-final, where he will face Djokovic in that semi-final. If he can conserve his energy, if Novak is, having a tough 5-setter against Daniil Medvedev, then you'd say Roger Nadal final perhaps, and then in that final I would say Roger to win it. So it is very difficult. It could go either way. There's a lot of factors in this year's US Open. I think the main factor will be conservation of energy. So winning the opening round matches nice and quickly, and trying to not have too many long 4-setters, 5-setters. I think that would be the key. And just if I had to pick a name now, I think Rafael Nadal is going to win this year's US Open. It will be his 4th US Open and put him in a really good position in terms of the race. But yeah, that's just simply my opinion. I would love to hear your opinion, and also your reasonings to who you think is going to win. Please do leave a comment below. As you know, I do reply to most, if not all, of your comments. And that is what this channel is really about. So, different people sharing their opinions. It's like a little forum for the tennis community. And I actually do enjoy listening to everything you guys have to say. And I appreciate the support you guys show in the comment section as well. Tonight, of course, we have the big women's match. We have Serena Williams versus Maria Sharapova. Now, it is a very lopsided head-to-head. However, first round, Serena, very disappointing performance in the Wimbledon final. So that is a very tasty tie. I know a lot of people will be awake for that. In the UK, it's a midnight match, so I will be watching that match as well. A huge match in the WTA. And yeah, the US Open officially began. I cannot wait for it. I'll be releasing more videos throughout the tournament. So as I've said before, please do subscribe for future content like this, and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much.
Game, set, and match. Game, set, and match.